A Better Route Chapter 90. Dokibi watched Kakashi closely as he showed off everything he'd learned in the past month on some of the training dummies they had lying around. It was all actually pretty well executed, with the speed and precision he hadn't been expecting from him at all. He used Shadow Snake hands as well, showing how he could integrate its snake-based moves into his style. The boy was clearly very skilled with everything the snakes needed him to be able to in order for him to become a sage. The head snake sage called to him, "I've seen enough, Kakashi, you may stop." Kakashi did as he was told and came over to Dokibi. "So what's the verdict?" "I'm a good to go." Dokibi couldn't believe what he was about to say. "Actually, Kakashi, I think you are. Never thought I'd see this day come. Part of me had expected it to come when Orochimaru started to summon it, but he was just too foolish to complete it. You, however, have proved you're worthy. Congratulations." Kakashi had to stop himself from screaming, "Thank God." He instead asked, "So when will I be starting my Sage Mode stuff?" Dokibi was eager to this finished. "We'll get things going tomorrow. I don't want to wait any longer than we have to." Kakashi thanked him and went over to Konan, who congratulated him. "Well done, Kakashi-kun. You're about to become the first ever human snake sage." Kakashi puffed out his chest in pride. "I'm awesome, all right." Konan laughed, and humble to boot. Both of them jumped a little as Kakumiai came up behind them. "Haha, good one, Konan." Konan glared at him. "What did I tell you about scaring me?" Kakumiai gulped and looked at her with big eyes. "But I didn't mean to, Konan-chan, I swear." Konan couldn't bring herself to stay mad at him. "Oh, all right, but don't let it happen again." Kakumiai slithered away while Kakashi tried to stop himself from laughing. Over in the Slug Realm things were going just as well. Mito's progress had been with Guken had been so impressive that even Guy and Lee were shocked at it. She'd literally spent every moment she hadn't been sleeping, eating, or using the bathroom training with Guy and Lee, who had been psyched to have someone who wanted to train as much as they did with them. Tsunagu squealed with joy as she watched Lee and Mito practicing on one another with their taijutsu. "Oh, it's perfect. This style will be ideal one for you to use along with your Sage Mode. Mito, you're finally ready to start your real training. The slugs will finally have a sage." Mito and Lee stopped and Mito called over to Tsunagu. "Really? That's great. Guy was so proud of his new student, Lady Mito. You've truly got the will of fire burning inside of you. May your youthfulness shine on forever." Tsunade flinched a little at Guy's volume but still praised her daughter. "Mito, this amazing. You're going to do something even your father and I couldn't do. I know he'd be proud of you too if her were her." Mito smiled warmly at the thought. "You think so?" Tsunade gave her a tight hug. "I know he would." Soku jumped up to congratulate her as well. However, the only way he could do that was to bark happily and lick her face. Mito caught Soku in her arms and accepted the affection gladly. Tsunagu, much like her fellow head sage Dokibi, wanted to get the sage training underway as soon as she could. "I'm assuming that you'd be willing to start the training tomorrow?" Mito wanted to get started now, but knew that wasn't gonna happen. "Tomorrow's perfect. First thing in the morning?" Tsunagu knew she liked her. "Ho, you know it." Pa sighed deeply. "So you've got no idea how in the hell to add your element to the Rasengan?" Naruto scratched his head embarrassedly. "That's about the size of it, yeah." Pa was glad he'd thought of something like this in advance. "Lucky for you, I had Obito give my all of your father's notes before we left." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "You didn't have anything in your hands when we left?" Pa pulled a scroll from his back. "I had all of his notes sealed into this scroll." Naruto questioned, "Did have that on your back since we got here?" Pa chuckled and nodded. "Honestly, I forgot I had it." "That'll happen to you when you get older." Naruto had several more questions about this, primarily how he slept and went to the bathroom without realizing he had a scroll almost as big as him on his back, but decided to let it go. He took the scroll and gave the toad a quick thank you. When Naruto opened the scroll though and took out the notes though, he soon felt like he was reading a foreign language. He knew his father had been very intelligent, but he ever expected technical terms this complex to be on his scroll. Only about half of it was even readable for Naruto. It was clear he was going to have to find someone who knew what the hell this stuff was supposed to mean, because there's no way he could do it just based off this scroll. While he was great with jutsu theory, he wasn't good at all with the fancy terms and stuff like that. Hinata had been reading over his shoulder and whistled, "That's some of the most complicated stuff I've ever seen. You might need Niji-kun to help you with all of that." Naruto didn't understand. "What do you mean? Is Niji good with all these fancy terms?" Hinata nodded. "Yup, he's great with this kind of stuff. For whatever reason he'll just spend hours memorizing all of these crazy words. I think they just kind of make him feel smart." Naruto was suddenly extremely glad Niji was with them. "Did I ever mention how much I like your cousin?" Hinata rolled her eyes. "Right. Do you have any idea where he's at right now, Pa?" Pa grumbled. "I just told you how bad my memory is getting. If I had to guess I'd say he's talking with Bunta Boy. Apparently those two get along real well." Naruto couldn't believe that those two of all people had become friends. "Well, alright then, let's go." Niji was indeed chatting happily with Gamabunta. Their conversation was actually about the very thing Naruto had come to speak to Niji about. "So Bunta-san, do you think that if the chakra frequency of someone's elemental chakra was high enough would it affect number of intervals someone could perform their kinetic chakra with?" Gamabunta thought it over. "I suppose it would, if their kinetic chakra wasn't linked with their physical chakra." Naruto wanted to run up to them and scream, "What in the hell are you talking about? Speak English. However, you didn't say something that to someone you needed a favor from." He asked Niji as respectfully as he could, "Hey Niji, do you think maybe you could do me a favor involving my training?" Niji wasn't going to say no. "What seems to be the problem, Naruto?" Naruto handed him the scroll. "I'm just gonna put this bluntly, what in the hell does this stuff mean?" Niji looked at the scroll and did his best to explain some of it to Naruto. "You see this word here? It means the number of times of your wind chakra rotates compared to how many times your raw chakra rotates. Oh, and this word is just basically talking about the amount of chakra you need to have inside the Rasengan. This word is saying." Naruto was already lost. "This is gonna sound awful, but do you think that you could just make a list for me?" Niji didn't blame him for not understanding a lot of these terms. It was kind of hard to learn them on the fly like this. "I'd be glad to, Naruto. It should only take about 5 minutes if you'd be willing to wait." Naruto let out a small laugh. "Do I really have a choice?" Niji laughed back. "No, I suppose you don't. Does anyone have a scroll and something to write with?" Naruto finished looking over everything Niji had written and all of it sounded much simpler than when his father had wrote it. Why on earth he felt the need to write it that complicatedly, Naruto would never know. Once it was all written out for him and he actually knew exactly what his father had wanted to do. The goal was to coat the chakra inside Rasengan with his wind chakra, but now to the point that it would slow it down. If done properly, it would actually cause the Rasengan to spin faster. With the wind surrounding all of the chakra in the Rasengan, it would slice through someone's defenses with the wind, causing the Rasengan's damage to increase exponentially. However, achieving that wasn't nearly as easy as it sounded. If the wind chakra collided with the raw chakra, it would implode in on itself. Luckily though, Naruto had one advantage his father didn't, a beautiful girlfriend with eyes that could see chakra. When Hinata first took a look at the swirling ball of chakra before Naruto added the wind to it, only one word came to mind: clusterfuck. That's basically what the whole thing looked like. It was nothing but spinning madness and Hinata could barely make out what was actually going on. She didn't have a clue as to how Naruto was supposed to control something as random as wind in all the insanity. Hinata didn't know what to tell him. "Naruto-kun, there's no way in hell you're going to control wind chakra in something like that. There's no enough space for the wind and raw chakra not to collide. It's just not going to work if you're trying to control it that much." Naruto thought over what she said. "So what if I didn't try to control it inside the Rasengan?" Hinata didn't get it, "But then how would it work?" Naruto wasn't sure if this was going to make sense to her, but he was at least going to try and explain it. I'm going to try and make the wind flow out through the Rasengan instead of inside it. Once it flows out of the Rasengan, I'll use it to surround the whole thing. Does that make sense? Hinata got the general idea. That might work. Just be careful with it, okay? Naruto asked innocently, when am I ever reckless? Less than an hour later. Hinata was start with her mouth open at the destruction around her. Naruto-kun, you just put a dozen holes inside a sacred mountain. Naruto shrugged it off, yeah, but it looks like I'm close to finishing the Rasen Shuriken. Hinata could see he wasn't getting the point. Naruto-kun, Pa is gonna be furious. That when Pa jumped over, furious about what? He looked at all the holes in the mountain. Naruto boy, did you do this? Naruto nodded nervously, yes. Pa told the boy, nice job, looks like you've almost got your wind element all finished. If you get it all done before the day's out you'll be able to start sage training tomorrow. Hinata was expecting him to be angry. You're not mad about the holes? Pa couldn't have cared less. Please, these holes are nothing compared to some of the stuff Bunta Boy did when he was younger. Besides, it's just a mountain. We've got miles of it and no one comes up here anyways. Keep up the good work boy. Pa jumped away and Naruto got back to training. Hinata was just glad this sage training was almost over. She was about to go crazy.